Before we get started, just a reminder that you can find all of my available rental properties on my website at marcguzman.com. If you own investment property, click on the Owner Services section to see our complete list of services. Thank you to our sponsor for today's episode, East Brother Beer. Located on Canal Boulevard in Point Richmond, East Brother Beer mixes classic brewing styles with precision and modern sensibility to create the perfect Bay Area craft beer. It all started over a cup of coffee. Both Stephanie Castaneda and Jeanette Valdez had similar goals of starting their own businesses in fields that allowed them to follow their passions. These two met and quickly formed a supportive friendship as two young Latina-American women hoping to carve out a spot in the world of fashion and cosmetics. They make it look easy, but they will be the first to tell you that it was anything but. Today, Stephanie and Jeanette join us on the podcast to talk about their businesses, Munecas Vintage and Labios Mios, as well as the challenges they face as two Latina women trying to start their own brand in today's America. Awesome. So, Stephanie, Jeanette, thank you for coming into the podcast.
Of course. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, so let's just jump right in. One thing I like to ask my guests here is what has your attention? This could be something fun, a hobby on the side, something completely different than what you do for a living. It could be music, it could be art, it could be politics. What has your attention right now?
So for me, it's working out. I'm into fitness a lot, and I'm actually trying to turn it into a career right now. At the moment, trying to get into personal training and all of that. So that's something that for sure has a lot of my interest and time and attention right now.
My girlfriend owns a gym here in Hercules. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and she was a real estate agent for, I want to say, 20 years. And then she just didn't like it and decided to switch over to personal training because she was addicted to fitness. So if you want someone to talk to, I can give you her name and
I was
number.
actually a preschool teacher, so I'm switching careers too. And it's something different, but I'm ready for change. And I'm into it a lot too, so I like it.
Yeah. What do you like about it the most?
Honestly, I like the motivation part, just being able to self-motivate and make sure that I'm putting in the work and seeing the results and things like that. And also helping others, because when I started, I know that it was really nerve-wracking and stressful to walk into a gym and not be educated on the certain types of machines or things like that. So for me, it was being able to help out friends to do it with me as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely when you're getting into fitness and walking to the gym, it's very intimidating, especially if you go to a gym like 24 hours. Yeah. Right? That's what it's called, 24.
Yeah, 24 hour fitness.
Yeah. And you walk in and then you see like the typical meatheads at the machines and they're there yelling, grunting, and it's intimidating for a lot of people. Yeah. Yeah, but it's fun. Like I did it years ago and 6 days a week, and it's amazing to see like your body change and what it can do.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's just the more you work on it, the better the outcome will be.
Yeah, and my girlfriend's done bodybuilding shows too.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so that's it's pretty amazing to see what just food and dieting and exercise can do leading up to a show and just sucking out the water out of your body. It's
all
a trip.
That muscle, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's a trip. Yeah. So what's got your attention?
For me, right now, what I've been currently doing a lot is just trying to learn. I used to go to school, but it got really expensive and I just couldn't do it anymore. So right now what I'm doing is I'm doing different programs just to, I guess, expand my knowledge that will benefit me with my business. So right now I'm taking programs that teach me how to web develop. I'm also taking an entrepreneur class. Even though I did take classes in college about business, I just felt like it wasn't as helpful as taking these Bay Area programs that want to help out the Bay Area locals type of thing.
Yeah, I feel, and correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of the business classes at colleges really feel like they just teach you the basics of business.
Exactly.
Like, here's how you do basic accounting. Mm-hmm. Here's how you do basic HR. And it's very simple. It doesn't get into the grit of it all. Like, hey, here's what, if you really want to be a business owner and entrepreneur, this is what it takes.
Exactly, yeah. So right now I'm just trying to learn because this whole entrepreneur experience for me, it's a learning experience. I'm more of a person that will like to actually get into it and get the experience and learn from it versus than somebody telling me, okay, this is what you have to do, because not everything works for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And not everyone learns the same. You know, some people rather do hands-on.
Yeah, but so like one of the courses that I'm taking, it's I think 7 people in the course, and it's more like, okay, let's go around and tell me what your elevator pitch is, or tell me what your marketing is. So it's more helpful that way, I think, than going to college. And I'm not trying to bash college either, because I eventually do want to go back. It's just so expensive, I feel like, here. So, but definitely I think that's like more helpful to reach out different resources that are there for you, because the Bay Area has a lot of resources.
I was just talking to a friend 2 days ago about colleges, not just in the Bay Area, just everywhere in general, and how the quality of education they provide has really dropped overall to garbage compared to what they're charging. And basically it's just a whole money machine, because for them, financing, they get paid, and that's it. It's just a rotating machine. But you're starting to see some colleges pop up with a completely different model that's very interesting. And what they're doing is basically you go to college and you don't pay anything to attend the college. And it's going to be anywhere from 6 months up to 4 years. You graduate depending on what you're majoring in, and then they will place you for a job. And if you make, let's say there's one college where if you make less than $75,000 in income, you don't pay anything back to them.
Wow.
So
that's
but
great.
Exactly. But and so their goal is to place you in a really high paying job. They place you in a high paying job,
So
then they take about 30% of your paycheck. Yeah.
For how long? I'm just kidding. Depending on what the cost of.
I mean, I guess that's kind of like, it gives you a win-win. Like if you're winning, then the college is winning.
Well, like the feedback that you're providing is very similar to what a lot of people that have attended college or even graduated recently, and it's that they don't feel as if college really gave them anything valuable. Now, there is something to be said for the network, right? You meet a ton of different people, and that network that you build there is can really help out in life. But the actual value that the college is bringing to you, a lot of people are not seeing that value, especially with what they're paying. And so you're starting to see the demand for these other different business models to come up of, and that's where you're seeing colleges stepping up and saying, hey, we're going to provide you valuable education, and we're willing to only charge if we can truly provide you the value that we promise.
Yep.
And it would be great if I think like a lot of schools or colleges did that, because I feel like people stress out after college. They're just left with the debt, and they spend years and years trying to work or get into that field or career, and sometimes it doesn't work out. So they're just still left with this big old chunk of debt that they're, stressing over every day. So I think that would be really good for people.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and we do real estate here, and we see it all the time where people want to buy a house, but they can't because they have student loan to pay off, right? And so they go to get qualified to buy a home, and they may have saved up money for a down payment, but they're faced with the choice of, okay, pay off the student loans, and then you have 0 down payment, or you can't buy a house.
Yeah.
Right? Because you have to pay off the student loan, and it's tough. Yeah.
Especially with the living costs and everything going up over the years.
Yeah, exactly. So let's talk about Labios Mios and Munecas Vintage. So Labios Mio.
So Labios Mios, I started that, or I launched officially in August, but before my launch, I had actually been working on it for over a year. I always knew that I wanted to have my own business. That's what I studied in college, but I just never knew what. But I knew that it was going to come to me. So I just kept living my life until like one day, finally I was like, wait, why don't I start my own lipstick line? Like lipsticks are my thing. Like I love lipsticks. And I didn't want to focus on like all cosmetics. So that's why I decided to do lipsticks. But also I felt that Latinas were like underrepresented in the makeup industry. So I was like, that's perfect. Like, let me look into that. And yeah, so pretty much what Labios Mios is, it's a Latina-owned brand that represents Latin cultural trends through lip cosmetics. So I bring out collections that represent Latin culture for women to feel connected to them.
How do you feel Latinas were underrepresented in the industry?
I guess more like the culture. Like Latinas are the #1 consumers of makeup, but yet you don't really see much culture in makeup.
Really? #1 consumer? Wow.
I believe that.
Yeah.
Shopping
As
problems.
Latinas, we love our makeup. Yeah. So, but yeah, like there was just no makeup that I felt like culturally connected to. And I think that would be so cool. So that's why I was like, why don't I try it out? I started doing a lot of research and finally found out that it was actually possible. And I mean, it's a lot of work, but it's definitely worth it.
Have the entrepreneur classes been helping?
A little bit, but I think it's just more the experience and just like researching, like a lot of the stuff, like I just researched on Google, like, okay, like how, what licenses do I need? Like, how do I start my own business? YouTube, like all of that type of stuff is really how I learned. Because I felt like in college, yeah, they teach you some stuff, but yeah, it's pretty basic and very general and vague. Like there's no really like, they're not really focused on particular people that already have their ideas.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing what you can learn for free on Google, right?
Seriously, yeah.
Yeah. So what was the biggest challenge for you in getting that started?
Getting that started, I think the biggest challenge for me was that everything that had to do with Labios Mios, it's like up to me. So I'm a type of person that I always like other people's opinions. But since it's my brand, like I would ask like my mom or my cousin, like, oh, what do you think about this? They're like, I don't know. What do you think? Like, what do you want? And I'm just like, I don't know. Like, I need help. So I think that's been like one of my toughest challenges is just, I guess, not self-doubting myself and really knowing exactly what I want to portray with my brand.
You know, it's funny you say that because the one thing I've determined, I've concluded in my experience of just being self-employed, starting up a couple businesses, and now the management business I have, is that self-doubt never disappears.
Yeah.
It never disappears. No matter how successful you get, it never disappears because it always just moves up to the next level. You become more successful, then it's a matter of, can I keep doing this? Can I, like, there's always some level of self-doubt. But I think depending on how you approach it, it's great because from an entrepreneur perspective, you're able to break that down. Like, why are you having those doubts? What problem is causing it? And then if you're good at it, you solve those problems.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but it never disappears. Okay, so let's talk about Munecas Vintage. How did this get started?
So basically, I was this type of person that I love wearing things like my own kind of way, my own style. I don't really shop like at basic stores like the mall or, like things Fashion Nova, big trendy places like that. So I've always been like a cheap shopper. Ever since I had my son, I was like obviously raised very traditionally Mexican. So my parents were like, okay, well, you're married now, so you have to figure it out on your own. Your allowance is done. So since then, I just turned into like a cheap shopper for myself. So when I would go to the store, I thought it would be ridiculous to pay $40, $50 for a pair of jeans when I can walk into the thrift store and get the same thing for a few bucks or something. Or it's just the fact that like, you're taking something and even though it didn't cost a lot, you could put it on and you could still feel great about yourself. So I like that feeling. And what I wanted to do was I wanted to start my company so that I can help out girls that were struggling the same like me, like they couldn't financially afford to go pay for those $50, $60 jeans or shorts. So I decided to just start ripping up my own shorts and selling them to like friends or my sister. Like I started little by little. And eventually I thought, well, since I'm doing it anyways, like I might as well try to turn it into something else since it's my passion. I really like, I love thrift shopping. That's something that I always do. And, this is my passion, turning some recycled denim into something that will make somebody else feel beautiful. That's the part that I really like. It's just taking something that someone's like, this is garbage, and just doing something to it, my style, that will give that a different, like a new life to it, kind of. And so for me, it was more about helping each other out. That's why I started this business. I've only been doing it for about a year as well, officially with my website. I mean, my sales are pretty slow, and I do depend on Instagram a lot for like custom orders and sales and things like that. But overall, it was because, like I said, I just want to have that platform to be able to have that ability to help other people out.
Let's talk a little bit about Instagram and advertising. I mean, how do you use, I would imagine even with even with your Labios Mios, that Instagram would be a key tool, right? So what are you doing on Instagram that you feel is a little bit different and really showcasing your brand?
I feel like my photography, I do all my own photography. So to me, it's just catching that certain feel or vibe from a photo shoot and showcasing that to all my Instagram followers. And the thing is that I've always just believed that you could just make yourself happy and not really care about the opinions of others. So it's just, for me, it's making a bold statement of how to be a confident woman, no matter what size you are, no matter where you come from, no matter, your skin color. I just feel like we're all equal, and it's a great way to showcase that, we're for everybody, for me.
So I would imagine Labios Mios is also Instagram and pushing that a lot, right?
Definitely, yeah. So Instagram is one of my main focuses. That's one of my biggest marketing strategies. So for Instagram, I do also do my own content for the most part. Sometimes I share other girls that have bought my lipsticks, or influencers that wear my lipsticks, and I like to share them on my Instagram page. But definitely, I like to showcase more of that like Latina vibe, like that, more of that fierce and just being proud to be a Latina. But yeah, it's really hard, honestly, with Instagram, because you have to be so consistent and you have to really be picky about what you post, because that reflects your brand. Anything posted on Instagram is going to reflect your brand. So for me, I'm very particular on what I post. But definitely, it's always trying to represent Latinas and just trying to help them feel empowered.
It's very interesting how Instagram's evolved over the years, and now it's really become a staple of, hey, this is the lifestyle of my brand. This is the lifestyle of my company, the lifestyle of my values, right? Do you use stories much?
I usually showcase just the stories when I have new products that are not on my website yet, because for me it's really hard for me to find models in the Bay Area, and especially because I don't have much to invest in my business, so I always try to get like people that are willing to do it for free or for the photos or in exchange for the merchandise or something. So
Do you find it pretty easy or hard to find people that are willing to do that exchange?
I find it very hard.
It's
very hard for me to find models here. So usually what happens is that I can't post anything, or I choose not to post it on my website until it's modeled. And from the beginning, that's just something that I chose to stick with, because I felt like it's not going to look the same if I just lay it out on the floor, or if it's on a person, styled and like with the shot looking cool and all of that.
For me, I try to use stories a lot. I don't show myself yet. It's funny because I always kind of wanted it to be more of like an anonymous thing, because I just felt like, oh, like who's going to want to buy my brand if they see it's just me, like just a regular girl from the Bay Area, But a lot of people have been telling me that I should actually put myself out there a little bit more on my brand, because then people will support me a little bit more, because they'll see that, I'm not like this huge beauty guru that, knows how to do her makeup super bomb, but just like a regular girl from the Bay Area that loves lipsticks and that wants to represent her culture through makeup.
Now, what are ways you're trying to test in order to grow and expand the company?
Like through Instagram, or what do you mean?
Well, I mean, to be honest, it doesn't have to be Instagram. It could be through any other avenue, because we do have a group of listeners and viewers that many of them tend to be self-employed, and they're always looking for different ways to advertise, whether it's on social media or maybe even traditional print, because traditional print still works for a few people. But there's one thing that you find when you start talking with a lot of different entrepreneurs and business owners is that you start finding little pieces of like little tidbits of advice that really just give you a new perspective on how to market your business. So really, I mean, what are other avenues that you're trying?
I'm definitely struggling with that right now, because I'm not sure how exactly to put myself out there a little bit more versus just Instagram and, Facebook. I do a lot of vending, but honestly, besides that, I don't really do anything else. I really need to, or I want to look into other ways of marketing, but it's just everything that's behind Labios Mios. It takes so much time. And then me also with my personal life and trying to also learn and expand my knowledge, taking these other programs, and work, of course, because I also need some kind of income. It's a lot of work, but that's definitely something that I want to look into and see exactly how going to maybe like a marketing agency, seeing how that would help out my brand. Because I know it would. I just also need to look into how much all of that would cost.
You have to be careful with marketing agencies because, and you really have to vet them, and you also have to test multiple because many of them are still very old school in marketing and they do very basic, cheesy posts out there, and they really don't help you in anything. You really have to look for kind of like a lifestyle agency, if that makes sense, that really says, okay, let's take your brand, your company, let's see what it's about, and we're going to create a lifestyle around it, and that's what people are going to be attracted to. I think that is the next generation of marketing agencies, but you don't see many of them out there that actually do that. You know, what are you trying as far as out of the box ideas or marketing?
Well, kind of like the same as her. We actually teamed up to work on a few events, and that's pretty much the only way that I'm trying to get myself out there besides Instagram. I do just go around and hand out my cards a lot to girls because I know it's hard. Like, there's a lot of competition for clothing and apparel and everything. So just trying to get myself out there is important, and I just give out my business cards as much as I can. So that's pretty much the only way. And definitely, like, what I want to do eventually is open a store. So I think that would be different. And then I would have a lot of different options because obviously I can use the store as a location where people can always come and everything. It'll be a lot different.
Now, the East Bay Express mentioned an article that Latino people face unique hurdles such as struggling to get funding and financing for business. Is that something either of you have experienced or have seen firsthand with maybe someone else?
I felt that I have not experienced any challenges because I'm Latina. I think we're living in a different time where, yes, some people still have to deal with that, but in my case, I haven't had any challenges.
For me, I don't think I've had many struggles either. Just pretty much would be just the investing in the money. That's it. But I don't think that besides that, I haven't had any experiences or anything that because I was Latina, it affected my business or it made someone think differently of me.
Okay. So, Sam, do we want to spin the wheel now?
I think we do.
We've got this, we've been doing this new little segment where we spin a wheel, whatever comes up, we just kind of talk about it. We've had some interesting questions come up and some fun responses.
Okay. It's going to be on here?
It's going to be right here, yeah. Yeah, it's very interesting being self-employed and running your own business, right? It's something that I think most people should try at least once, whether you succeed or fail. But I think it gives you a different perspective into what every business that everyone goes to eat somewhere, to shop somewhere, and there's always a business owner behind many of these different stores. I think it gives you a completely new perspective, right? When it's your business, you're dealing with all the success, but you're also dealing with all the problems
and the work
and the work. Exactly.
I think that honestly, excuse me. Can you guys cut that? No, I'm just kidding. I think that it's hard, but I feel like I'm very motivated by my dad as well because he's an entrepreneur as of 2 years recently. And I just feel like if you don't do the hard work and if you don't do it for yourself, you're pretty much working for someone else and their name. So to me, it's kind of like be your own boss or work for someone else that actually went out and did what you couldn't do. So I just feel like people shouldn't get discouraged because I like to think about it. When you go into the store and you're shopping for anything, whether it's toothpaste or soap, you can look and you can see that there's 50 to 100 brands. So I mean, that doesn't mean that because there's competition that you should give up or not keep going or be discouraged. There's always going to be many companies that do the same thing as you, but as long as you stay true to your passion or what you truly makes you happy, then I feel like it's the best thing to just be your own boss in whatever it is that you're doing.
100% agree. Okay, so we've got the wheel. Let's see, the wheel is spinning. Most famous person you have ever met?
Is that like face to face, right?
Yeah.
I guess it would have to be.
I guess if you meet someone online and you know they're verified.
For me, it would have to be Pitbull. I met him when I was like about 15, and I actually got to take like a Polaroid picture with him. And at the time, I was into reggaeton, so I liked it.
What's he been up to?
I don't know. I wonder if he got balder. I have no idea. I haven't seen anything from him in years, so.
Yeah.
I keep seeing them pop up on some ad for a real estate conference. I'm like, of all people at a real estate conference, why Pitbull? And this is like an investment conference, so it's not like, oh, how to sell real estate. It's how to buy and flip real estate. Oh. Maybe he's just a DJ and the singer there.
Maybe.
Or the rapper.
Mm-hmm. Well, the most famous person I've met. Well, who did I meet? I met Espinosa Paz, which I don't know if you know who that is, but he's a Mexican artist. But I did have to pay $30 to do that. We took a picture and everything. I also had a different time where I met what's his name? Bill Nye. I mean, he's not that famous.
Bill Nye, yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Everybody knows.
Yeah, seriously.
He's super famous.
Yeah.
I actually do.
Was he as nice as he seems?
He's super nice. Yeah, he's really nice. He looks the same. Like, it's really funny. I actually work in catering, so we did a catering for scientists at the Academy of Science in San Francisco, and he was there, and we all got to meet him, which was really cool.
Oh, that's very
Everybody
cool.
was super excited because, you know, we grew up watching him.
Yeah.
For sure.
In classes and stuff. But yeah, that was super dope.
Yeah. Is he still in classes?
I know he's still around. I don't know if he's doing his show or anything.
Well, I would imagine schools, you know how schools play like reruns from like the 70s and 80s.
Every time it was raining, that's how we would spend recess.
Yeah.
Watching Bill Nye. It was the greatest.
I think he's got a new show on. Doesn't he have a show on Netflix right now?
He had one, yeah.
He had one? Yeah. It's funny. But yeah, he always seemed like a really cool guy. So that's good to hear. Nothing's worse than thinking someone is very cool and you meet them and they're like a just total ass to you.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're like, never mind. Why could I like you?
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah. So going back to your businesses, where are you looking to, what are your goals for the future? I mean, what are your goals?
So for me, I'll start. I mentioned it a little bit earlier that my goal is to open up my own store. I used to have a store a few years back in East LA, and unfortunately, after working there for about a year and trying to make things work out, it was way too much competition in that area. I don't know if you're familiar with Whittier Boulevard, but it's like this huge strip of just stores that you can shop at. So due to that and, you know, me being unexperienced at the time, it didn't work out. So what I want to do this time is open a store, but make it my Munecas Vintage store where I would have new clothes, used clothes, and also like artwork. So I just want to make it like something very different than the normal store. And my goal is to open that in the LA area because I'm planning to move out there. So I really want to turn this into like something that I can do full time and get my income from it. Because right now I do it just as a passion for fun. I mean, I can't really live off it. I can't depend on my sales that much. So I think to turn this into like a full-time career would be amazing and it would be like a dream.
How did you come up with the name?
Because my Instagram name is Tu Muñeca, so I just felt like Munecas Vintage was cool because it can be anything. that vintage.
And it fits her very well because she's very like vintagey. And I don't know, when you think muñeca, you think vintage. So I don't know. I think it fits her really good.
Yeah.
It was actually really hard to think of a name. So when I just stuck with that and I was like, okay, cool. I think I can work with this. So I feel like I would definitely use that same name for my store. And especially because I've taken so long to establish the followers and all that, I feel like it would just be good for me.
And what's a website for people to visit?
It's www.munecasvintage.com.
Okay. And we'll go ahead and make sure to link that up
Thank
too.
you.
Now, Labios Mios, how did you come up with a name and what's the future goal?
Well, Labios Mios, again, it was like something that just popped into my head one day. Like I knew that I needed to come up with a name. My original plan was that I wanted to do something customizable. So then I don't know, I just thought Labios Mios and I just loved the name. So I went with that. And what I want to do with Labios Mios is I really want to have my own corporation one day. I cannot wait for the day where I can hire people and have them help me and expand my brand. I really want it to be known all over like Latin America and the US pretty much.
Okay. So looking to expand.
For sure, definitely. Yeah. I don't know where or when, but it's definitely, it's going to happen.
Well, that's one of the beautiful things about like Shopify or just being online, really. I mean, anyone from the world can really look at your website, buy your products. Now, shipping outside of the U.S. is a different story.
Right.
But if someone's willing to pay for it, you know, might as well provide it, right?
Right, definitely.
I haven't actually looked into the international shipping prices just because I know that they're super pricey, but I feel like I would want to offer that too, just because I feel like it's really special when people all over the world have your stuff. I have had people that bought stuff off me and then they moved to Africa and I'm just like, wow, you're just wearing my shorts in Africa. Like, it's just cool. And especially just, I feel like online is really good for exposure because sometimes I'll have people that I've never even like told about my page just randomly buy off me and I check their address and they're like from Texas or from Ohio or from New York and I'm like, how are these people even finding me? Like, it's crazy, but I just think that it's really important to just keep going and put yourself out there.
Yeah. Now, what's the website for Labios Mios?
For Labios Mios, it's labiosmios.com.
Okay. Now, for each of you, what's your favorite product that someone can buy right now?
My favorite product right now, I only have 7 matte liquid lipsticks and 1 gloss. But my favorite one that I wear almost every day is my brownish nude shade that's called Única. In English, it's unique. But that one's like my everyday shade that I like to wear.
For me, it would have to be a hand-painted jacket because I collab with my husband who's an artist and he hand-paints denim for me. So right now there's a really nice hand-painted jacket on my website that I would definitely snag up and keep.
Very cool. So for young Latinos that are looking to start their own business, what would be your piece of advice for them?
My piece of advice would be to just stay focused on what it is that they want.
I would say figure out what you're passionate about because, I mean, there's multiple ways that you can start your own business, but if you don't like what you're doing, I mean, it's just going to be another job for you. So I would definitely say to figure out what your passion is and just do your research. Do your research and figure out how to do it and definitely find resources. There's a lot of people out there that are willing to help if you ask. There's a lot of people that you can collaborate and they will, also share their story with you. So definitely network. Your network is your net worth. So
I always tell people go to google.com. So exactly what you said, like you go to google.com and you're able to learn so much. Or one website I really like is udemy.com, where it's basically anyone from the world can post courses and they can charge for courses or provide them for free. And so if you want to learn how to use Microsoft Office, right? Udemy.com.
Udemy.com.
Yeah, if you want to learn how to use Microsoft Office or learn how to code or learn how to do literally anything. If you wanted to know more about Shakespeare literature, they have courses on that too. And basically anyone from the world can post their courses there and they range anywhere from free up to like $100 for the actual course. So I'm a fan of even going to that site. And I mean, I even did a coding class off of that. So and the coding class was like $25 to sign up for.
That's awesome.
So the internet's amazing and what you can learn from it. So again, best way for people to shop is going to be through the website. What's the Instagram handle?
For mine, it's Labios Mios _
And for me, it's Munecas _Vintage.
Perfect. So we'll go ahead and get everything linked up. I want to thank the two of you for coming onto the podcast. And yeah, thank you. And I wish you the best in your future endeavors with the business.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Definitely. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Thank you to our producer, Sam Lubman. Please subscribe, like, comment, and share the podcast. Remember, you can listen to the podcast on iTunes, Podbean, iHeartRadio, Google Play, SoundCloud, and anywhere else you listen to podcasts. For more information on my business as a property manager and real estate team, go visit my website at marcguzman.com. I really want to thank all of you for listening. It means the world to me, and I hope today's episode provides you value in your day-to-day life. I created this podcast to help showcase the many great people that live in this world and help share some knowledge that I've learned along the way in life. Again, thank you for listening. Check out our sponsors, and I'll catch you on the next episode.